Well, hello there, Zen Witch here with another Unboxing the Tarot video, and today we are going to be unboxing the Sacred Rose deck. Yes, it has a lot of mileage on it. I've had it for a long time. This deck is by Johanna Sherman. Gargiulo. Contains 78 cards in full color. SR78 Sacred Rose Tarot, complete with instruction booklet. The 5 mystic roses appearing throughout the Sacred Rose Tarot deck are the Western equivalent to the Sacred Lotus of the Orient. Red rose stands for sacrifice, white rose is purity, blue rose represents the impossible, gold rose signifies achievement, and the cosmic rose suggests time and space. That's pretty cool. Stunning full-color tarot imagery by artist psychic Johanna Sherman. The Sacred Rose Tarot deck draws upon the symbolic rose of the Western world, the ancient Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, and the cosmos itself. And as you can see by the box, super rich looking deck. Beautiful, rich color. Published by U.S. Game Systems, 1982. The LWB. We have a blocking card, the Sacred Rose Tarot deck. Same thing as on the front of the box. All right. Look how pretty. I mean, they're just so attractive. They just really pull me in. And we have the Fool coming straight towards. These cards are very, they're very present. They're looking right at you. And my one friend called this the White Eyes deck. You'll see why in a minute. So he has the white rose in his hand, and as it said on the box, the white rose is purity, and that makes sense for the Fool. There's his little dog at his feet. And now we start seeing the white eyes. We would be talking about this, and I would say I'm using the Sacred Rose, and she'd say, oh, is that the White Eyes deck? Because they all have just these white eyes. There's the Magician. So reimagining, very stylized. There's the High Priestess. Where are her roses? I see flowers there, but I don't know. And I will say that this was a deck that I used, and I really looked up all the meanings. I really like the way the meanings are written in this deck. There's a very pregnant Empress with the Venus symbol. The Emperor holding his orb and scepter. The Hierophant. Simplified images indeed. There's usually one central image on all of these. Except when it comes to the Lovers, and then we have a whole crowd. Didn't they hear what the old saying about two's company? But we can see dynamics of relationship here. Very interesting. Chariot. Justice. I love the coloration. I love rich colors. When I was a kid and I would color, I remember having Charlie Brown coloring books. And I never did, the pastel light coloring. I always pushed hard and went for full color. And then I would go back and outline everything in heavy black. So you see why these appeal to the little kid in me. There's the Hermit. And you see how, they're all looking right at you. Wheel of Fortune. These aren't really images that I would say, oh, I'm looking at this and I see them doing that. I mean, with the Wheel of Fortune, you certainly can. Something's coming up, something's going down. The eyes are looking, but they don't really illustrate the way some other decks do. They're very stylized, appealingly so. But like she's just kind of behind that line. You don't really see an interaction between the two of them. So it's not really an intuitive deck in that regard. Hanged Man. It was popped in focus for a hot second there. Death card. Temperance. The Devil, that's a really cool image. All right, whatever. With the people chained, I'm sorry. Oh! We got the Spock, the Live Long and Prosper Vulcan sign there. Curious as to what that's about. Let's look it up. The Tower. The Star. The Moon. And the Sun. Very happy. Jugement. And even that, you know, you've got the angel that's blowing the trumpet is very prominent in the image, and you see the two people, but you don't really see that they are rising from the dead. I mean, I think there's something going on down here. But again, you don't really get the meaning of the classic meaning of the cards from the images in this deck. There's the World with the 4 fixed sign images. And then we go to the wands. So red rose, if you remember, says stands for sacrifice. And we've got a very prominent red rose in the ace. And there we've got red and white. The 2, the 3. 4, definitely we see things being built there. 5. They're kind of intertwined. So we get a little bit more of a gist of the meanings in the minor arcana. The 5 of Wands looks like people are sort of entwined in all these wands and tangled up. You know, there's definitely that tangled up feeling. 6 of Wands certainly looks like the laurels of victory there. 7. Hocha. The 8, I like that hand. So you definitely get the sense of an outgo of energy. The 9 of Wands, holding your ground, keeping your boundaries firm. 10 of Wands, definitely collapsing under the pressure. And then we have the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. Very red. Then we have the Swords with the blue rose. Blue rose represents the impossible. They're very crystalline looking. So look at while the wands were very red and fiery, the swords are really blue and calm, and they both have blindfolds on there. 3 of Swords, that goes back to the classic image of the heart being pierced. 4. 5. Certainly talks about defeat. You know, sometimes it can go victory or defeat. That definitely looks like defeat. 6 of Swords, moving forward, but not moving away. Again, these cards are very kind of confrontational. They're looking right at you. 7. The Thief card. The 8. I like this image a lot. I just like the way she looks with the blindfold there. There she is. It's kind of her hair is the blindfold, but it's just an appealing image to me. The 9, that's also very descriptive. And the 10. So again, you do get more of an intuitive meaning in the suit images. I'm struggling to see where the blood's coming from. It looks like a tree is being pierced. I'll look that one up too. There's the Page of Swords, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. Then we go on to the white rose of purity in the suit of cups. And there's like the dove and the host and that whole very Christian thing there. 2 of cups. And look at how refreshing these look. You know, these definitely have a sense of joy about them. Here we go. Joy and celebration. There's the 2, there's the 3. All right, I'm going to keep it down here and hope it'll focus a little bit. There we go. 4. the 5. Certainly showing stress, the 6. Reminiscences, 7. So yeah, I can see intuitively here somebody who's worrying and making stories up in their head that's causing them some kind of grief. You could certainly see that. The 8. I want to look her up too. The 9 of Cups, very happy looking. 10, with all the different colored roses there, or at least the white and the blue and the, no, I think we have gold there too. Yep, there's gold too. White, blue, red, gold. The Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. And then on to the Pentacles, where we have the Golden Rose of Achievement. 2, so now we get into really earthy colors. 3. Certainly looks like a master. 4. 5. Let's take a look at him too. 6. Look at the earth there and the hand with the coins. Okay, this is pointing up. The hand is reaching down. I want to look at that. 7 of Pentacles. 8. 9. She's very bosomy and ample and abundant. 10, a cornucopia. And we have the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. So yeah, beautiful deck. Let's look at some of the meanings here. Let's look up the Devil, first of all. And as I said before, this was a deck that I used to do readings, and I looked them up, and I found it very accurate. I found that it would definitely answer my questions. I found it descriptive enough that it definitely gave me advice. So it's a good deck in that regard. So under all of the majors, you have a description. This says, let me see if I can get it in focus for you. Easier said than done. A horned creature is seated upon a throne of dead leaves. He possesses the luminescence of knowledge applied to his misused ends. The devil's crown of golden horns is lunar in nature, thus transient and emotional. The golden color of his horns is solar, which suggests physical and sexual properties. The point of ecstasy, instead of being spiritual, becomes purely physical. The pentagram on the devil's forehead, there it is not inverted, and thus indicates that the path to righteousness can be discerned from an understanding of illusion and its power. The pentagram also confirms that intuition can be spiritual in nature and that it is possible to find salvation by following one's intuition. The wings of the devil are purple, suggesting power and creatures of the night. His green body is fertile and creative in an evil context. The red face is vengeful. The goat-like legs suggest fierce strength in contrast to the regal legs of the lion. Okay, I see his legs. The flame on his forehead above the horns reveals knowledge that is illusory. It's an illusion. Whatever manifests in the ether or within the power of the mind shall manifest itself here on earth. Thus, as you think, so you are, and as above, so below. The devil's hands are confined close to his body. The right hand points upward, the left downward. The fingers on both hands are spread in the Kabbalistic blessing of knowledge, which is the word of power. Although generally the esoteric gesture of blessing is formed by both hands almost touching, by contrast, the hands of the devil are separated above and below to signify malevolence. The kneeling figures represent man and woman, possibly Adam and Eve. They are roped to each other, but only by one hand. Although they can sever their bonds if they desire, they willingly remain bound together by earthly and materialistic desires. Thus, for example, someone who dislikes a job remains miserable and quite likely makes everyone around miserable, yet doesn't quit the job, When one's emotions and anxieties run out of control, it is possible to cause self-imposed illness, misfortune, and disease. Man, shown at the devil's left side, suggests lack of spirituality. Woman at the devil's right side indicates frigidity and lack of feeling. So that's pretty, and that's just the description of the card. That's not the meanings. So you can skip all that. And if you're looking for a meaning, divinatory meanings: obsession, material indulgence, miserable existence, pressures caused by lack of consideration, selfishness, carnal knowledge, forbidden knowledge, difficulty in change. The reversed meanings are changing values, stupidity, test of spiritual beliefs, knowledge of both good and evil, but preference for evil, and alteration. So very involved meanings, at least for the major arcana. Let's take a look at the Ten of Swords here as an example of a minor. And then there's a little part here when you come into the minors, the sacred rose suits the powers of the sacred roses. And so it goes into more of a description of each. The red rose belongs to the suit of wands, fire and the phallic energy of the creative world. The basic force is spontaneity and physical expression. With attributes of sacrifice and endurance, it functions through action and potency. The level of awareness is the id, animal drive, and the instinct of survival. The elemental force is visualized as a salamander, so we bring in the kind of the creatures of each of the directions as well. The white rose belongs to the suit of cups, water, emotions, and intuition, and the spiritual and feminine powers. Basic force of cups is purity and innocence, functioning through the spirit or soul. The level of awareness is the subconscious with its hidden and unexplained emotions. The elemental force is visualized as a mermaid-like creature called an undine. Okay. The blue rose belongs to the suit of swords, air, intellect, and analysis. The basic force is discernment, and the attributes of communication and aspirations for the impossible. Functioning through thought, the level of awareness is the superego, which is the synthesis of the subconscious with the conscious. The elemental force is visualized as a feminine winged being called a sylph, which is a creature of air. The gold rose belongs to the suit of pentacles, the earth, and regeneration. It symbolizes the integration of all forces of the self. Its basic force is material manifestation or substance. Attributes are absolute achievement, fulfillment, and rebirth. The level of awareness is the ego and the conscious reality. With this suit, one works through the knowledge of right and wrong. The elemental force is visualized as a short, stocky, bearded man called a gnome, which I don't really see him in there, but I'm looking to see if it talks about the cosmic rose with the major arcana, and it doesn't. And I didn't show you the backs of the cards. So the cosmic rose is the one in the middle there, kind of the starry image. There we go. Okay. So let's look at Six of Pentacles here to look at that reaching up, reaching down thing I was curious about. Oh, so okay, so they go by the minors go by denomination. So all the aces are together, all the twos are together, etc. Six of Pentacles, material success. The world is seen as the balance or center of six pentacles. Two hands place and adjust the pentacles in their positions. This card denotes the adjustment of funds required to obtain substantial success and represents charity, generosity, gifts, helping hands, and shared prosperity. The reversed meanings are bribes, selfishness, envy, debts. So the meanings of the minors are embedded in the description of the card. And then you get the reversed meanings. So let me look at the cups. I had 8 of cups here. Let's look at that one. Abandoned success. Okay. A woman sits before a basket of cups that she will abandon to the moonlit sea. She is disheveled with wild hair and a mad look of despair on her face. This card indicates the need for emotional regeneration. There is dissatisfaction over gains and abandonment of the old for the new. Disappointment with results of efforts or with the way children have turned out may be indicated. Reverse is joy, gaiety, continued efforts result in happiness. So rather than abandoning efforts, it's continued efforts. So you can see why I liked the meanings of these. They definitely had things that would speak to whatever I was asking about. They shuffle easily and well and have been shuffled often. Many, many times since I got them. This was one of the first decks I had. So you could see that. All right, enough of that play. Wear and tear on the box and the fact that this little flap was gone by the time I started doing my taping thing. I mean, this was about ready to fall off. I'll probably tape the inside of that too. So anyway, there you go. Another one to choose from. I would recommend it for the meanings in the book. Difficult to sort of memorize, but if this is a style that you vibe to, I could very much see getting this deck internalized, that you would be able to really internalize and do some good readings with it. So there you have it, the Sacred Rose, another Unboxing the Tarot video. I'm so glad you came to hang out with me in my night shoot. Like, subscribe, ask me questions. I will engage with you until I get so big that it's just impossible. And boy, we are light years from that. So anyway, I always love hanging out with you. I will see you on Friday with another unboxing of an Oracle deck. Until then, this has been the Zen Witch. Blessed be.